I'm like, ooh, I love that woman. I love that woman, man. Got in my car, I was like, I don't even need coffee today. I got an extra pep in my step. But man, like things are good, but we're tired all the time because like when you're in a relationship that long, you develop new problems, like shit that you did not see coming, and then right in the face. Hits you right in the face as hard as possible. Like we got this new problem, you see, is that our son Titus has been getting in trouble at school a lot lately. Except there's an even bigger problem, is that we don't have a son named Titus. Titus is a little shithead that goes to Roberto Clemente High School, right around the corner from our apartment, who made up a random series of 773 phone numbers, one of which just happens to be my girlfriend's. And he gets in trouble every single day at school, you guys. I got a phone call while I was at work. It was my girlfriend. She goes, I can't take these phone calls anymore. Me trying to be boyfriend of the year, I'm like, babe, give me that phone number. And I said, fuck it, I called the school. I'm like, yeah, Roberto Clemente High School? This is Titus's father. And they're like, oh, thank God you called. Your son's running amok. I'm like, I know, he's a piece of shit. You guys ever hear a long, awkward pause on the other end of the phone? And that principal was like, excuse me? And I go to him, I'm like, well, you met my son, right? And he just goes, that's fair. I was like, oh, shit. All right. I'm like, what this little monster do this time? What did my seed do? And he proceeds to tell me, he goes, well, he took another student's clothing with their phone in it and flushed it down the toilet. And my first question for that principal was like, why'd that kid have his pants off, man? What kind of school are you running, bro? So I didn't like the sign from the catcher, so I threw a curveball into the mix. I said, you know what, why don't you put my son on the phone? And I could hear him in the background. He goes, Titus, your father wants to speak with you. He goes, he does? I get this kid on the phone. I'm like, yeah, Titus, this is your father. And he goes, it is? And before I could yell at my fake son, he saw the changeup, hit a grand slam, and just goes, where the hell have you been? I'm like, hey bud, why don't you put your principal back on the phone there? I've lost this argument. So I get the principal back on the phone and I'm talking to this guy, his name's Brian. And I'm like, Brian, how long have you been doing this? And he goes, 38 years. And the last thing I said to this man, I go, don't you miss hitting him? And I heard his voice perk up, he just goes, yeah, and I hung up the phone. Fuck that kid. I'm gonna get out of here on this one, guys. You guys have been fucking cool as hell. Before I get out of here, I used to be a bike messenger, and I used to live in Ravenswood, which isn't far from here. And I would have to ride my bike through Wrigleyville every day. You ever hang out in Wrigleyville on purpose? Nah, fuck that. And I was driving into work one day, it's Sunday morning. Now Sunday morning, that's the party, like neighborhood hangover day. And this car pulls up next to me. It was a guy and a girl. I don't know if they were dating. It wasn't my place to ask questions. All of a sudden, I started hearing a loud booming noise coming from the car next to me, just. And the girl sitting in the passenger seat doing her best Weekend at Bernie's impersonation was hitting the window as hard as she could. And she had a cast on her arm. And I thought, oh my God, this dude stole this girl. I gotta save her. Not the case. The guy starts to panic. He goes, that window doesn't roll down. That window doesn't roll down. And the girl just screams out, I have to puke! So this girl had to throw up so bad, she was trying to break the window with her already broken arm. And this is where I fell in love with this girl. She took her good hand and reached into her purse and pulled out a plastic grocery bag. And I was like, is that how women pack their purse? So she goes to throw up in the bag, because that's her style, but she can't do it. She's got a broken arm. You guys ever see somebody MacGyver something so well you fall in love with them? She took one handle of that bag and looped it around her ear. She took the other handle of that bag, looped it over her ear. Threw it with no hands like she was riding the Raging Bull at Six Flags. Then opens the door, which I don't know why the fuck she didn't just do that in the first place. She dropped the bag. I felt the weight of the bag hit the ground while I was on my bicycle. Just. And she rode off into the sunrise forever, and I was like, where are you going, dream woman? I get into work, I'm gonna punch in. I wrote a Craigslist misconnection. I didn't find love that day, but it said this: a beautiful girl, black hair, brown eyes, pink cast. Pukes like a champ on Addison and Clark. You left your bag, but you stole my heart. All right, I'm John Torres. Get over talk.